Hello, hello, hello. What's up, everybody? I got a little mic issue here. Hold on a second. All right. We are live on the YouTube channel. What is going on? Y'all coming on in here for this month's, the September edition of the RIA Launch Masterclass. Okay. So that's what we're doing tonight. And we'll talk about, we're going to talk about tech stuff. It's kind of somewhat of a free for all tonight, but not so much. I do have a specific agenda we'll be talking about, but let me know where you're listening from. Would love to shout you out in the comments. I'm just making sure that everything is good for the live stream, and give me just a second here. All right. So tonight, what we're going to cover, if you're stopping in and watching tonight, we're going to cover tech stack solutions. I think from my work as a consultant and coach to financial professionals, this is one of the things that I think people spend a lot of time on. And I'm going to say something controversial right now, unnecessarily. Yes, I said it. I think there's too much to be made of, and there's too much people worried about like what their tech stack is going to be. And I have a very distinct methodology when it comes to this, and I want to go over that tonight because it'll help you figure all this out. Like, I know there are just dozens of vendors in just about every category that you can think of: website, client billing, risk assessments, CRM, custodians, even. Like, there's so many out there in all those different categories. And the question becomes, you can literally get lost in the sauce on what does it take for you to run your firm and what do you really need, right? So I want to talk about that tonight. I think that my insight will help you make a better decision and not spend as much money as you think you have to. Because that's another thing is people spend a lot of unnecessary capital. And then you start thinking about this is, let's say you sign up for XYZ mail service that sends out like newsletters or something like that. And then you get, you start doing something and it works and you grow your list. And then you find out that the technology that you're using, the software, has these tiers where if you go over like, let's say 1,000 contacts, then they start charging you more and more and more and more. And as your list grows, the cost goes up. Like, I want to save you from all those headaches because I've already experienced those. So hop in, like the live, share the live. What else? Let me know where you're listening from. And let's go. Okay, so the first thing I want to kind of say, which I think is going to be the controversial part of this, is that if you are choosing your technology, if you're choosing your software, what you're going to use to deliver your product or your service to clients, before you develop who you're going to be talking to and the niche and what the offer is going to be, you're out of order. Cart before the horse. Why? Well, because depending on who you serve and what experience you want them to go through will depend on what your tech stack needs to look like. Now, I know this is really, really controversial because there's a lot of people that use, and I don't want to get into a whole lot of name calling today because you guys, this is what I don't want. I don't want you sending me a bunch of emails and comments about should you give up a particular piece of technology that you're using. Doesn't really matter to me. Doesn't matter to me. So this is what I want you to know. I think that if you develop first who you're going to target, what that offer is going to be for them, and the experience that you want them to have as a result of taking you up on your offer, that will inform what your tech stack needs to be. I stand by that wholeheartely. I think that if you go about it any other type of way, you might actually be spending way more money and time. Like to try out these solutions, to change what you're doing already, implement something else. Let's say you have a team involved too, so you got to get them up to speed with, it could be a lot. And I'm just trying to say, if you haven't nailed down who you're going to target, what that offer is going to be, and how you're going to deliver it in the experience, the client experience, then you're going a little too fast, okay? So let me give you some ideas from a generic standpoint, and then what we'll do is open this up for Q&A. What's up, Cashin? Watching from Atlanta. So what we'll do is open this up for Q&A on what, like, hey, Dom, on CRMs, how do you think I can hook this up? Or, you know, wealth management software, or risk tolerance software, or financial planning software, or any of this stuff, you know, funnels, you know, all that. So we can go into that. And if I don't know about something because I haven't used it or I don't know about it, I'll just let you know. All right, fair enough? Let's do it. Okay, so this is, if I was building, the way I want to frame this is if I was building a firm from scratch, from day one. Like, I have no clients, and I am, let's say, just launched my RIA, okay? This is how I would do it. So the first thing I would do, and I'm just going to walk you through the steps that I talked to, but I'm going to give you a little bit more granularity. I'm going to get you a little bit more meat on the bone, right? So the very first thing I need to do is figure out who I'm going to target, right? So if I'm going to target boomers, let's just say I'm going to target boomers because everybody wants to target boomers, okay? This pre-retiree to retiree market, people that have, let's say, $1 million to invest or more. No, that's a very popular market. So let's go ahead and stay there. So let's say I'm doing that. Man, I wish I had my whiteboard. I'm going somewhere right after this, so I packed everything up. Sorry, because I would bring that out because it would be really helpful right now. But just imagine I'm targeting boomers in the retirement space. Now, even with that, what I need to do, since that space is so crowded, and this is how you pick who you're going to target, I need to figure out within that market what angle am I going to use to sound different than any other financial advisor that's doing the same thing as me? I know they're not doing the same thing as you, but work with me here, right? Edward Jones versus Vanguard versus Schwab versus you. Clients don't know the difference. So you got to show them, okay? So let's say that within this pre-retiree to retiree, somebody with $1 million in investable assets, I want to help them. I can become the advisor that I help you monetize your nest egg so that you never need another paycheck, right? So just walk with me on that. So like, Dom, how do you do that? We're not gonna worry about that tonight. That's a whole different training. I just want to let you know that we gotta create an angle for these people to even pay attention to us, okay? Now, if we are doing that particular thing, if we're creating cash flow from a portfolio that will cause them to never need a paycheck ever again, like how they get paid twice a month at their job, W-2, what we're going to need is we're going to need some investment management software. We definitely need a CRM. We definitely are going to need, what am I trying to say? Like a newsletter, something to maybe deliver a newsletter, and maybe that's contained inside the CRM. But you start to work through these components, right? So I know I need some type of investment management, performance tracking type software. Like that lets me know based on the niche I'm going to serve and how I'm going to serve them. How can I tell them, hey, your portfolio cash flow is going to be X this month, it's going to be Y this month, and over the next 12 months, it's going to look like this for the whole year. Like, how would I be able to do that unless I had that type of software? So you get where I'm going here. So this is how I'm saying the angle at which you attack or present your offer to your target market will determine the tech stack that you're going to be using. Okay. Now that I've kind of figured out this niche of pre-retirees to retirees with $1 million in investable assets, now I need to start thinking about how exactly I'm going to craft my offer, right? What am I going to be giving them differently? Am I going to be doing comprehensive financial planning? Am I going to be doing investment management? Am I going to be focusing just on rollovers, people that are getting ready to roll their money over? There's different things that I could be looking at when it comes to how I want to target them. So I need to figure out my offer. Now, you may be like, Dom, I want to do all of those. I can do all of those. Okay. I'm going to let you know that the more complex or the bigger your problem, the bigger your paycheck. So typically speaking, you can't scale all of those. You can scale maybe one or two of those and do those really well and be that guy or gal that is known for helping people cash flow their portfolios. But if you try to do, I'm gonna do comprehensive financial planning, I'm gonna do retirement planning, I'm gonna do, like, your list is getting too long. Your idea here should be to create a productized service offer. Think about it that way. Productized service offer. Service businesses never sell for as much as product businesses. But Dom, I'm offering a service, right? Like, I'm delivering over the time. Yes, but you can couch it in a way that is a, let's say, 4-step process to cash flowing your retirement portfolio, right? First, we roll over your current assets. Then we create an investment strategy. Then we purchase the assets, and then we monitor them. 4 steps. That is, in people's mind, that's a product, okay? So that's how you need to be thinking about creating and crafting your offer. This is what separates you from people that say, I do investment management, or I do financial planning, or I do comprehensive financial planning. When you have a 4-step process for monetizing your retirement portfolio, or a 5-step process, whatever, how many of your steps it is, then you become very differentiated in the market, okay? And it allows you to get real specific around each step that you include in this process that allows people to get the outcome that they want. You follow me? Okay. So look, I know this may just like be actually like totally counterintuitive to you. Like, I get it, because this is not what the financial services industry teaches. They teach you to go out there, find anybody with a pulse, and then you're gonna go and just, you're gonna rock it. Anybody with a pulse, that's just what it's gonna be. And I'm telling you right now, that's not how it works. You will struggle to get business. But if you narrow your focus initially and have a very distinct product offer, then you'll be golden. Okay. Now you're going to see also when it comes to this experience. So we're going to talk about experience, and then we're going to talk about tech stack after that. So now you can begin to think about, if after you've nailed your 4, 5, 6-step process. Let's say we got a 4-step process, and I don't remember all the steps because I'm riffing a lot of this. I haven't prepared any of this. This is kind of like straight off the dome. Let's say you have a 4-step process for monetizing retirement portfolios. Okay, so you roll over their 401k, you pick the investment strategy, and maybe that's where you have a unique value proposition around the investment strategy. You don't just pick typical mutual funds that pay 2 or 3% dividends a year. You go pick closed-end funds or business development companies or municipal bonds or like structured notes or whatever you do, right? Like, that becomes your thing, right? And so clients will, you strategize, pick the investment strategy, implement those particular investments, and then monitor, right? So that is a whole process in itself that kind of informs the client what they're signing up for, right? It dictates what the client experience is going to be. I'll give you an example. So when I was working for an RIA here in Dallas, they did a lot of what I'm talking about right now. Excuse me, I'm sorry. I've got like a little hair in my eye or something. They really honed in on the investment management part of their offer. Matter of fact, that was their only real offer. They didn't really do comprehensive financial planning. They outsourced taxes. They outsourced estate planning. They outsourced all that. Just investment management. And he was pretty successful doing that. Now, the process by which people came in, and actually, let me just give you away his blueprint, because it's not like it's proprietary or anything. So what he would do is he would do a radio show. What's up, Leroy? He would do a radio show on Saturday, and then the replay would happen on Sunday. And he would inevitably get, I would say on average, 4 to 5 qualified inbound leads. Like a lot of people would call in from the show, like, because it was like a 2-hour show. A lot of people would call in during the show and after the show. And he would get 4 to 5 qualified prospects. And when I say qualified prospects, I mean people that have the amount of assets that would be ideal for him to make a profit off of that particular client. And then what he would do is he would send them a questionnaire, a preliminary client questionnaire to kind of like get some information from them, so that when they come in the office for the 90-minute meeting, he has something to talk about with them, right? So this is all part of his process, right? You should be taking notes. Like you don't have to do this process, but you could do something like this, right? Because what he did is he made financial services and financial advice that he was selling more of a product than a service. And I'm telling you, this is key, guys. Like if you don't take away anything from tonight, make sure that you understand that financial advice also, although delivered as a service, needs to be constructed from an offer standpoint as a product. Because if you want to build a scalable, sellable asset, if you want to build a sellable asset that has to have scale to it, like somebody will write you a check for your firm at some point, this is how you have to do it. If you make it too advisor centric and advisor focused, like if you walk away from the business, then it doesn't really exist. Like this is what I'm telling you right now. And I promise I'm gonna get the tech stack for everybody that's waiting. But this is important, because if you go and select the tech stack without thinking about this first, your tech stack will be obsolete, because you're going to inevitably go through the business, learn more things, and you're going to go, man, I got the wrong software. That's what you're going to realize. Okay. So going back to his process. So let's say they fill out the questionnaire, they would come in office, and then he would sell them, right, on that offer. I'm going to speed through this real quick. And then he would set up what is the first meeting is called the post-transfer review. Post-transfer review was they brought all their statements in from wherever their assets are held. And right now, when they leave the office in that 90 minute, they were signing account transfer forms. And we were taking those account transfer forms and the new account applications and their statements, and we were sending them up to the custodian to process. This is back in the day before they had things like Altrist that allowed you to do this electronically. They would leave. We would process their assets. The assets would leave wherever they are and come into our custodian. And then we would call them up and do a post-transfer review to say, hey, you had $2 million over at Schwab. Now you have $2 million over here at Pershing. That's where we cleared. And everything is still here. This is what we're about to do. We're going to sell this and we're going to buy this and da-da-da-da-da. We would do the whole thing. And then we would do those trades, and then we would send them like an account statement. It was called a portfolio appraisal that had all the new investments with the cash flow that they were generating on a monthly basis or annual basis, pretty much. So now we took their $2 million portfolio at Schwab that may have been earning, I don't know, 3% cash flow. Maybe it was like 60 grand a year that it was generating with dividends. And then we put them in this portfolio that doubled that, same amount of assets, but the cash flow is now $120,000 a year. And that's what we would deliver to them. And they would be like, wow, this is great. And so that was the whole process. And you see how that's what you call a productized service offer. We honed it and we honed it and we honed it. Now, we didn't need all the type of technology that typically comes in a financial advisor setup. We needed really good performance accounting, performance reporting software. We needed a CRM to communicate with those people. We needed a really great custodian with a platform that allowed us to do those trades. But we didn't need financial planning software because we didn't do that. We didn't need tax software because we didn't do that. We didn't need any of that kind of stuff. He did like I said, he did a radio show every week, so we didn't need a newsletter really, right? So do you see how that setup necessitated or dictated rather the tech stack that was going to be used? Okay, so this is what I want to offer to you. You're going to have to go home and do some homework, or at some point you're going to have to figure out what your niche is going to be, the angle, the offer that you're going to give to people or make to people, and then the experience you want them to go through. Okay. And if you do this correctly, I promise you, you will be so much better off. Now, let me give you an example of how I run my firm and what I think may help you when it comes to picking some of this stuff. Okay. So I think you need a CRM. Now, there's a lot of CRMs out there. There's Redtail, there's Wealthbox, there's AdviseOn, there's all these different ones. Now, some of this is going to be dictated by your budget. Yes. But I think at a minimum in 2024, what you need to be thinking about is the ability to SMS, like message your clients. Like so many clients like get emails like out the wazoo, and email open rates are still really stellar, but text open rates are like really high. So if you can do a CRM that incorporates text messaging, and you may be like, Dom, my broker dealer won't allow that, but don't be thinking like that. Like you may not always be working for that broker dealer. Like, and if you're captive right now, meaning that you can only use their tech stack, just kind of put this in put this in your back pocket, okay? Because you may need this at some point. So I think that's at a minimum, right? You got to have a CRM, okay? There's got to be a way that you can communicate with your clients, that they can communicate with you, and things like that, okay? That would be the first thing. I think if you're going to go down the comprehensive financial planning route like I did, you're going to need a good financial planning software, okay? Now, what you're going to notice is some of these software integrate with others and some of them don't. A lot of them have what is called closed APIs, and they're not open APIs. So you can't always connect your CRM to your financial planning software and stuff. That would be ideal, but that does not happen all the time. In your process, if you haven't purchased any of these things, or if you're looking, you may want to look at bundled software. For instance, AdviseOn has a platform by which a lot of these things are inside or connected. They're all in like connected in one bundle. I'll say my experience with stuff like that is typically all pieces of the bundle aren't good. Like one or two pieces are good. But then when you start to add on like 3 or 4 or 5 things in a bundle, yeah, you save a little bit of cost, but then you sacrifice on how good those particular items in the bundle are, if that makes sense. Okay, so you're gonna need a good financial planning software if you're gonna do that. Now, I don't wanna double click too hard on financial planning softwares. I use Right Capital. I like Right Capital, but even with how long I've been using it, 6-7 years now, I have more opted towards, matter of fact, the last financial plan I wrote, I did not even use Right Capital. I used a Google Doc because it was just overkill. Like what the client needed is not a bunch of graphs and charts and just more things to log into. They just didn't need it. And I've been doing this for so long. I just wrote it in a Google Doc. So that's me. Everybody might not want to do that. But you're going to need a financial planning software if you're going to go comprehensive financial planning. You're going to need a good custodian. Now, this becomes an easy filter, and that is because most custodians, like the really big ones, Fidelity, Schwab, they're going to require you to have a certain amount of assets before they will take you on as a client or allow you to custody assets there. So what I would suggest is you use a more friendly custodian solution. I used SSG, Shareholder Services Group, which clears through purging. They were recently bought by Altrust, and which is where I am right now. There will be other platforms out there that will be, as Altrust won't be the only game on, on the street that offer no minimums, which is kind of what they do right now. But you're going to need a good custodian. So, be thinking about that. So we got CRM, financial planning software, and custodian. Like if you're running an RIA, you don't have those three things and you're doing comprehensive financial planning, it's like, what are you doing? Because you're going to need those. Now, let me start getting into some of the things that may be extra. Okay. And like the list is long on extra. It just depends on how you want to craft your offer, like we talked about earlier. So you may want some type of email marketing software, like an ActiveCampaign or a MailChimp or a Constant Contact, so that as you're collecting email addresses, you can send out like really nice, like newsletter type of stuff that is not, hey, it's time for our meeting, or it's I want to get you on the calendar for review. This is stuff that you could do to nurture prospects before they become clients, right? So let's say that you're focused on this pre-retiree market with people that have $1 million in investable assets and they're getting ready to retire. They have their 401k, and you create some content around 401k rollovers, right? That's really educational. And a lot of people sign up for it. It's like a white paper or a quiz or something you create, right? Well, those people aren't clients yet. Do you want to put them in your CRM? Maybe, but it might clog up your CRM. Like if you're like, I was marketing to medical sales professionals before I did what I'm doing right now. And I collected a lot of names, like hundreds and hundreds of names. And I didn't want to put those in my CRM. So I had an email marketing software that collected those because it has a CRM component in it. I used ActiveCampaign. And I was able to store those email addresses, and I can blast them an email newsletter or anything like that during the time that I was nurturing them, trying to get them to become clients. So like that's something to think about, because sometimes you don't want to crowd up your CRM with prospective clients that may or may never become clients. That's just a thought. What are your thoughts on Right Capital versus eMoney? I haven't demoed eMoney in a little while. I will say that for the most part, they're the same. What I like about Right Capital, and they got I don't know if they got another capital infusion or whatever, but they've made some changes. The first is I love their tech support. Like if you have problems with a planning idea or concept that you are trying to demonstrate or articulate to the client inside the financial plan you're creating, like you can literally call out their 800 number and they will spend 30, 40, 60 minutes on the call with you saying, okay, this is what you do. Do this first. Okay, do this second. Do this. Like, and eMoney may have that too, but that's what I really like about Right Capital. I do like the interface is just kind of clean and easy. You could do cash flow based plans or goal based plans. I promise I can talk tonight. So what is the difference between a cash flow and a goal based plan, Dominique? So goal based plans are like a client comes to you and says, I have X goal, Y goal, Z goal, and I think X, Y, and Z goal are going to cost X amount to fund. Well, a goal-based planning software will start with that end goal and tell you what you need to save, adjust your saving rates, all those different things in the portfolio returns you would need to do, or have rather, in order to meet that goal. Whereas a cash flow based plan is going to look at income coming in at the beginning of the year and expenses going out at the end of the year, how much the surplus or the deficit. And it's going to do that through how many ever years you have until that goal you want to meet is, and say, okay, you're going to be shortfall this year, or you're going to be over this year, that kind of stuff. Way more detailed analysis, in my opinion, on the cash flow based plan siding. And I like that a lot more. And Right Capital actually has this thing where it's like they have a modified cash flow. So it's kind of like a cross between those two. That's what I typically use on my planning as my planning template. So eMoney may have that. I don't know. I have no idea. So that's something you might want to just look for, Leroy. All right. I think something else that is pertinent on what you would include in your stack is probably some way to bill your clients, like for your services. Whether that is, I mean, you could use something like QuickBooks. At the beginning of my journey, I used 𝐉𝐨𝐢𝐬 apps, free software. Oh, Dom, is this stuff compliant? If it's in your ADV and in your investment advisory contract, then it's compliant. That's the main thing. It needs to be in there. Whatever you're using, it needs to be in there. Even if it's Stripe, which is what I use now. So I know a lot of that stuff is like 𝐉𝐴ZePay. You need to use 𝐉𝐴ZePay because you can't take custody of funds. And you might be in a knucklehead state that like has a dumb interpretation of custody, of having custody of funds, client funds, but typically not. Typically not. Like that, it's pretty clear that because you're billing someone through Stripe and you have the ability to turn on automatic bill pay, meaning that your invoice goes out. Let's just say you charge them an annual retainer of $5,000, and so every month, that's not a really good number. Let's say $4,800. You charge them $400 a month. So $400 a month is like what happens on the first of the month. Well, in Stripe, you can make that auto pay, right? And they just have a credit card that's attached. That is not custody of client funds. A regulator might try to argue with you on that, but that is not having custody of client funds, and that's totally compliant. You don't have to use a system like 𝐉𝐴ZePay, pay Michael Kitces and them whatever they charge, and then get your money from your client. You can just get your money directly from your client. Okay, so I have about 5 minutes or so for questions, if you guys have any other specific questions. What I would also say, I can't underscore and emphasize enough that first part that we spend the lion's share of our time together on tonight. I think that's the most important part. Like, people that don't do that well end up spending way too much money on technology. And that's to their detriment, because it doesn't have to be that way. It can literally be so that you are being as lean and efficient as possible when running your firm. Okay. And I would also say, go with the bare minimum of tech that you need, and then layer on as your firm grows. For instance, because I do cash flow portfolios, I needed a really good custodian, and I needed investment strategy software, so I can kind of like, let's say, construct model portfolios. I construct my own portfolios. I don't outsource that. At least at the beginning of my firm, I didn't. So I needed software that would model the returns that I was predicting that clients would have in their portfolio. So there was a software, I think it's still out there. Let me see real quick. It's called Quanti, KWANTI. Yeah, it's still out there. Man, it's $195 a month now. It was like $95 or $90 a month when I was using it. But this allows you to, and it has the whole universe of all investments out there. And so you could literally put together, let's say investment ABC and investment DEF, investment, all these different things. And you can construct a portfolio that shows, oh, this is the, you can back test it. Like, this is what it made the last 20 years, last 10 years. as long as the funds that have been around. This is what it's going to cash flow. Stress test against, Asian currency crisis, Great Recession, like all those different things. If you're into portfolio construction, Quanti is a really good thing. And I had to also have performance reporting. So, how did the portfolio do over the last week, last 30 days, last month, last year, year to date, all that kind of stuff. I use Black Diamond for that. So performance reporting and investment strategies designs was huge for me because I was constructing portfolios. And so that was something I had to add into my tech stack. Again, you have to figure out what you're going to focus on in order to determine your tech stack. You just have to. How is AGS not the most critical part of the tech stack? No, okay. So I was gonna offer that shameless plug towards the end. So Cashin, thank you for prompting that. I wanted to keep it agnostic right now. So what I have done over the last 25 years of doing this is I have looked at all different softwares. Matter of fact, let me show you something real quick. Since Cashin is stealing my thunder here, give me a minute. I'm trying to bring up this PDF that will be very helpful. Okay, so this right here, I created this a long time ago, and this is basically at the time that I created it in 2022. This was all the technology and hardware I was using, right? So a lot of people are like, Don, what camera do you use? All this kind of stuff. So this is my whole setup, my mic, my software, everything. I just listed it all out, right? And then I got to this business operation tools part, right? And thank God for things like Zapier. Oh man, I don't know what I would have done without Zapier. But the point I'm making is no matter how much I knew about tech and grabbing the latest software, I still had to have a way to connect all these things, right? So for instance, I was using Pipedrive as my CRM, but when somebody downloaded a white paper or a quiz that I created, then they would, land on a landing page. That landing page had to be connected to my email marketing software, which was ActiveCampaign at the time. And then ActiveCampaign, since I wasn't using that as my CRM, had to then send the information to Pipedrive. And I would do that all with a thing called Zapier. And like that was working for a while, but then it just starts to get a little clunky. So about 12 months ago, I said to myself, what are the core things necessary for a financial advisor to just run their business? Let's just say that person I was talking about, starting from scratch, $1 million in investable assets for the pre-retiree market. Does he or she need to go out and buy all these different pieces? Or could they just buy one software that would do their CRM, their newsletter or blog, their funnels for their website, text, SMS for client communication, calendar. That's another thing I didn't talk about, but everybody doesn't use Calendly and stuff like that. But calendar for appointments, like all of that connected, all talking in one system, so that there are no things that you need to connect up. You don't need to have a degree in Zapier in order to make this work. So that's what I started working on last year. And what Cashin was bringing up is that AGS, the Advisor Growth System, is the tool that I came up with. I've been using it. Cashin uses it. My wife uses it. There's some other people that use it. So like this is really and my wife doesn't have a financial advisory business. It's really business agnostic. Actually, you can do it for any. any entrepreneur that needs a way to communicate with clients through a CRM or through text email and or text, that needs a website, that needs a sales funnel, that needs a calendar to schedule appointments. There you go. It even has documents and invoicing. So like you can bill your clients through this, right? Whether you're using Stripe or PayPal or whatever you're using, like if you wanted to send like nice invoices, because the Stripe interface, it's okay. I'm kind of techie, so I've used it before, but it's not the easiest thing to like create a payment link. Like you want somebody to pay you, like for a financial plan, like how do you create a payment link through Stripe? Like that could be difficult. So all those things are included in the Advisor Growth System. And so what I will do, and I'll link this up too. If you want a demo of the platform, oops, wrong button. If you want a demo of the platform, you just go here. Okay, so here's the link here. And you can just set up a demo to kind of go through it. And so like I said, scheduler, CRM, websites, sales funnels, inbox where everything comes into one thing, like handle your Google reviews, social media planner. So if you want to schedule your post on LinkedIn or Facebook or Instagram or TikTok, all those things. So it is literally, I'll tell this story real quick. So what happened is I was in South Korea. 𝐃𝐨𝐦'𝐬, yeah, courses. So like if you want to host a course, let's say you have a course that you're teaching something, an asynchronous course that you want people to buy a course, or you just want clients that come into your ecosystem to be able to go through a module to understand how to upload their accounts or upload their statements, all that kind of stuff, right? Is all inside of this system. I know it sounds weird. It's like, it's all there, Dom. You told me that if it's bundled, it sucks. Well, no, not necessarily. There's improvements that can be made on everything, no doubt. But this, I've been running my business with this thing for over a year now. So, but anyways, the story I was going to say is, so I'm in South Korea in March with my family. And this is what you're seeing right here. I'm halfway around the world, so I'm 14 hours ahead. So if somebody calls the office or sends me an email, there's going to be a time difference. So I created let's call it a bot, an AI bot inside of this software that I'm talking about, that basically said that when somebody calls the office line, it creates an opportunity in the system to track this person so that I don't lose track of them. Like an opportunity is just like a deal, if you will, right? It just gives you the parameters around what they want and their name and their phone number and stuff like that. But as you can see, maybe on this demo screen, is the bot sends a automatic SMS after this person leaves a voicemail or just calls and hangs up and says, "Hey, this is 𝐷𝐽's Capital Management here. Sorry we missed your call. How can we help?" And then it gives them an opt-out if they don't want to, engage in this. And then it asks them a question. It says, "Are you looking for a financial planner? Would you be interested in scheduling a complimentary discovery call?" And this person said, "Yes, I would." And so the bot knows how to look for intent in messages. That's how I configured this one, is to look for intent. Because they may say yes, they may say yeah, they may say no, whatever. I want it to be universal. So it's looking for intent, negative or positive intent. And so if it's positive intent, it says, "Awesome, grab any opening that works for you," and sends my calendar link to them. And then once they click the calendar link, it updates the stage to say like they're interested, right? You can create, maybe like opt in, whatever stage you want to track this opportunity is what I did. You can see this person booked an appointment, then the stage is updated. And then they go into this flow that I have that basically confirms the appointment. So it says, "Hey, so-and-so, you have an appointment with Dominique on April 3rd, 2024 at 12 p.m. We'll shoot you some reminders along the way." So all this happened while I was with my family enjoying South Korea. Like and I didn't touch anything. Now I could see all of it on my phone, but all of it was happening without any manipulation by me. I just I'd set this up beforehand, and that's how it happened. So like there are not many softwares that do stuff like this. But in my design of this for financial advisors, I was thinking about myself as a financial advisor, and I was thinking about, man, I might be at a conference, I might be on vacation, I might be all these different things. Like I want to be able to have a business that runs without me. So that's part of it. So again, if you want to sign up for and schedule a demo, you can click that link. It has so many features. It's kind of ridiculous, actually. It is actually ridiculous. All right, very good. So I'm going to get out of here. I got to be somewhere, and it's been great. I hope you guys have a really, really great rest of your day and rest of your evening. If there's questions, obviously you guys know how to get in contact with me. Thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing to the channel. Make sure you like, share, comment, all the things, all the YouTubey things. All right. See you guys later. Bye-bye.